Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today we are in Los Angeles, California, and just in front of me is the world famous Hollywood Boulevard. Now, today's video is one that I've wanted to do for a while, and this is one that I was pretty excited to do because this location was not an easy one to find. But today we're going to be talking about Estelle Getty. She was probably best known for her portrayal of Sophia in The Golden Girls, and everybody loved this woman. She was just, looking back, she was a legend, and she was amazing in that role. She was in a lot of other different things, but she did not have the beginning in show business that you would expect out of her, and I'll tell you about that in just a little bit. Now, for a little bit of background, Estelle Getty was born in 1923 in New York, and she won a Golden Globe. She won an Emmy for her portrayal of Sophia in The Golden Girls. But growing up, she wanted to get into acting, and her father didn't think that she was ever going to make it. She ended up taking a job as a secretary so she could audition for roles at night, and she slowly started to land roles in the New York theater circuit. You might think to yourself, just by knowing who she is now, that she had a really successful career as an actress, and she did later in life. But believe it or not, she didn't actually break through until she was almost 60 years old, when she was seen in a play in New York City, and that play got rave reviews and it started to get her noticed. But it was later in life that she was cast in The Golden Girls. She played a lot of different characters in other TV shows after that and some film. But this right up here is the final home of Estelle Getty. This was the home that she was living in the final few years of her life, and unfortunately where she also passed away. Now, this home is located on Hollywood Boulevard. This is a beautiful apartment complex, and it's very, very close to the Mann's Chinese Theater and all the things that you think of when you think of Hollywood Boulevard. But it's far enough away to where it's away from all the tourists, but close enough to where you could easily walk over there if you wanted to. Now, one thing I love about doing videos here in Hollywood is that everything is so close together. A few months ago, I showed you Orson Welles' last house, which is only 2 blocks away from here, but everything is so close together, and that's what's nice about coming out here. Now, this is the apartment building here, and Estelle Getty was living up here on the 4th floor, and this unit actually just went up for rent not that long ago for $4,000 a month. Now, I'll show you the listing here and show you a couple of the photos from inside the apartment and what it looks like now, and it doesn't look like too much has changed since she lived here. Now, the photos that I'm putting over this are pictures from inside the apartment. They had a really nice kitchen in here, nice bedrooms, a really nice patio. The bathrooms were updated and very beautiful. I mean, this is a really nice place, and it was $4,000 a month, or it is now, for a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, and it's 18,225 square feet. But it was inside this apartment that Estelle Getty lived in, and it was inside this apartment where she passed away back in 2008. Now, she had Lewy body dementia, and towards the end, she was deteriorating to the point where she couldn't really hold conversations, and she didn't even recognize her co-stars from Golden Girls or a lot of her friends at the end. She was very close to, Betty White, B. Arthur, Rue McClanahan, and she had a lot of friends and a lot of family. But it's pretty sad how things ended up for her. She was very, very afraid of death, and she often made jokes about it just to lighten the load, I guess, on her. Now, this over here is the side of the apartment building, and just over here would have been where everybody parks their car. So if she had a car here, which she probably did, she would have parked it right down here in this parking garage. But a pretty nice place for this location in Hollywood. But she lived on the 4th floor here, and just when we get done here, I'm going to take you over to Hollywood Forever Cemetery where she's laid to rest, and we're going to visit her final resting place. But it's interesting to see places like this because a lot of these old apartment buildings, a lot of major big names have lived in these apartment buildings, and a lot of big names probably live in here now and we just don't know it. Here's one more look at it from across Hollywood Boulevard. Now, I don't know about you, but I would definitely live here. I mean, this is really close to everything. It's just a really nice, peaceful place. I mean, aside from the traffic, but everything else, I mean, the crime over here is not what it is in other parts of the town. But this is where Estelle Getty lived the final years of her life, and unfortunately, where she also passed away. So let's head across town now to Hollywood Forever. Here is Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Now, if you're ever in LA and you need just one cemetery to visit and you only have time for one, this is the one I would come to. Now, we had a brief rainstorm on the way over here, and you saw it in the last shot, but I gave it a couple of minutes and it cleared up, so I can show you this in a little bit better light here. But over here is the final resting place of Estelle Getty, and this is Hollywood Forever Cemetery, one of the best cemeteries in Los Angeles. There's a lot of famous people. Sorry about that. Some traffic overhead. But this is one of the most interesting cemeteries in the Los Angeles area. There's a lot of very famous people laid to rest here. I've done quite a few videos here, and I have a lot more coming up from this location. But this right here is the final resting place of Estelle Getty. And she has a lot of the people laid to rest in here, especially this part, have flat headstones. Estelle Getty has a regular tombstone like this, and you can see the top of it from the road when you're driving by, just kind of peering over the bushes. But if you happen to see that, that would be Estelle Getty. She's the only bigger tombstone over in this area. But as you can see, a lot of people visit. They leave stones, they leave different things here, they leave flowers. It is a very heavily visited tombstone and final resting place over here. One more interesting thing to note is that Estelle Getty passed away at the age of 84. And she played the oldest character in the Golden Girls, but she was not the oldest cast member of the show. The weird thing was is that she used a lot of wigs and a lot of other things that made her look a lot older than she was at the time. But at the time of filming, I think she was only in her 60s. But I think everybody watched the Golden Girls. That was such a classic show, and I remember I used to watch it when I would go over to my grandparents' house, and they would always watch it, and it was just the funniest show, and a lot of things that were said were things that you might not have understood if you were a kid watching, but she was just a classic actress and a great part of that show. But that's all I have for you for today from Hollywood Forever Cemetery and Los Angeles, California. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video. Take care, everybody.